We're all vibrational beings. Everything is vibrating.
When you're listening to a frequency that's non-relenting, meaning that it can't change, it's digital, and you hold it up next to a frequency that can change, which say we have anxiety issues, then that tuning fork has sounded and it's going to resonate with the non-relenting frequency and pull you out of that anxiety.
Today's guest is Dr. Michael Beckwith, world-renowned spiritual teacher and founder of the Agape International Spiritual Center, a movement that's touched millions around the globe. Joining him is Henry Penix, serial entrepreneur and CEO of SOAAK, the revolutionary sound frequency app used by the US Air Force and people across the world to boost focus, healing, and performance.
People are afraid, or those that want to keep people domesticated are afraid that people are going to wake up.
What happens when someone wakes up?
They start to break down all of the inner structures within themselves that have held them small.
What's an example of an inner structure that breaks down commonly?
You're listening to The Human Upgrade with Dave Asprey.
What is the highest purpose of frequency healing anyway?
Basically to bring us into a sense of a coherence with that which is already innate within us. I believe that there's an innate wholeness, a deep sense of well-being already within us on a spiritual level. And so we're seeking through frequency, and prayer is a high frequency as well, to allow the different bodies, mental body, emotional body, physical body, to come into harmony with our innate wholeness.
I had a family member once say, I don't want to do any of that kind of work or any kind of spiritual work because I might not like what I find in there. So you're talking about becoming in tune with what's inside you. How do you know what's inside you?
Right. Well, there's two levels. One, on a spiritual level, is nothing but perfection.
Yep.
And wholeness, harmony, straight from the source. And then there are imprints that each of us have, just moving through the human experience. We're imprinted by trauma, worry, doubt, fear, anxiety, things that have happened to us that perhaps we haven't processed, that shifted our personality. And so when you start to go in and delve into that, you bump into that stuff.
Right.
It's not necessarily pretty, but you have to, as the old saying goes, you have to go through it to get to your real self.
And I think many times when you go into a gym, you may not like to lift the weights or you may not like how it feels in the moment, but the end result is always going to make you a better person.
What if you just like pull your shoulder and have to go to the hospital?
Then you better get back in as fast as you can.
I'm just messing with I was watching your face. You were like, well, yeah. I had to say that.
Yeah. Humor is a high frequency. Laughter is a high frequency.
Oh yeah, that's the frequency in this room right now.
It's interesting because I had someone on years ago and she came on and she kept talking about frequency. I'm like, frequency of what? Like frequency of drinking water, frequency of making love, frequency of magnets, and she didn't know. She said, "Well, frequency is the future." And I'm like, frequency of smoking is what are we talking about?
Right.
So when you talk about frequency, what does it mean?
Okay, well, first of all, we're all vibrational beings. Everything is vibrating. The microphone, glass of water. Frequency is the measurement of the vibration. So we're all vibrating. But then if you're vibrating at the level of, let's say, love, that's a very high frequency. You're vibrating at the level of hate. It's a lower density vibration. So everything is frequency. So prayer being the first non-technological being everywhere at the same time is a very high frequency. And now you have things like SOAAK that have taken different frequencies, different oscillations
of sound,
right, to actually shift the cells of your body temple. So I remember saying years ago, I've said years ago, we are vibrational beings.
Oh yeah.
You know, in the beginning was the vibration. In the beginning was a word, a vibrational frequency of wholeness. Nothing is created without that. And so as a spiritual being having a human incarnation, we have the capacity to actually participate in the raising of our own frequency. Whereas many people are living victimized by circumstances and situations and things of that particular nature. We can opt out.
Yeah.
Through spiritual practice.
I haven't mentioned this much on the show, but back in the late 1900s, I kind of got into this path through sound. And I would first buy and then just start downloading and eventually making different sounds to change the state of my consciousness. And it feels like the science has come a long way since then.
Yeah.
And how do you know what to do? You're saying, all right, I want to make someone calmer or more connected, and you're putting some frequencies together. It's like you're making a recipe in a kitchen,
Right.
And you know how it would taste if it's food, but how do you know what to put in your app?
Yeah. So ours has been a journey of about 9 years now total. Started in clinic. We tried a lot of things, and we came up with the top 30 outcomes that people always requested. The top ones today are anxiety, depression, low energy, brain fog, low libido, and of course sleep, as we were discussing earlier. And so we put those in 30 buckets so people could kind of still make their own recipes, still kind of self-diagnose. And what we've done recently, and I'll have you know, this is the first podcast that I've ever said this on.
Okay.
So it's right here. By the time this releases, our app will be this. We've actually got the capacity now to read your biometrics through any smart device. If you don't wear a smart device, you can answer a very short survey, or you can do both. It will go into our bucket of hundreds of frequencies and come out and make your frequency for the moment, in the moment. So you're not having to guess.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're hungry for banana bread, it's going to get that hint from your biometrics and the survey, and it's going to go in through AI and create that perfect banana cake for you to eat at what you need in the moment. If you want something in the evening before you go to sleep, you do the same thing. It will adjust to you when, where, and what you need when you need it.
So
that was my first time.
I heard banana cake in the app.
Metaphor.
And that the app's going to give me banana cake. Okay,
Yes.
guys, you heard that here first? No, I know Smoke. So
I was just thinking that you like banana cake. So
I haven't had banana cake in a very long time.
do you like bananas?
I don't eat bananas. I guess they're all right.
Okay. I will use another metaphor.
But it was a metaphor. Ribeye.
What's your favorite food? Ribeye. Okay,
I'm just messing with you.
I don't eat bananas either.
Yeah, I'm just messing with you, because it's fun.
Yes.
And I get it though. So if I'm having a craving, even when I may not know about, like my body wants something, you're going to put the frequency of that in the sound, so then I will not have a craving for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
That's pretty cool.
I'm using the metaphor of food to replace things like depression, anxiety, low energy. It's going to feel biometrically where you're at, and then help you adjust through frequency to speak to you on a cellular level to make the oscillation of those cells vibrate in such a pattern that it would be the opposite of depression, or the opposite of anxiety, or the opposite of low energy.
I totally get that. And I've seen technologies using different types of frequencies work. I've seen lasers do things. I've seen magnets do things. I've seen sound do things. But biometrics, what does that mean? Like thumbprints, which biometric are you using?
So the ones we have chosen to use are typical things that you get from like an Apple Watch, Fitbit, or a Ring, meaning heart rate variability, and your sleep patterns.
Okay.
So those type of biometrics.
So if your HRV is low and you didn't get much REM, it's going to know that you're tweaked in that way, and it'll feed you. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's really cool.
On the nose. Yeah.
All right. I know that it's an app on my phone. I can just play it through my headphones. Is there any value to like playing it through my whole room system with double subwoofers and all that? Like, is it better with headphones, or?
You can have a different experience, whatever you're up for.
You're so non-dual.
So if I want to work out, I'll play it on a larger speaker. You're so funny.
Sorry. I'm just channeling Austin.
So non-dual. That's funny. But yeah, I'll depending on the outcome that I want and what I'm after, I'll play it on different modalities. So some people even use bone conducting headsets where you
That's
don't
an
even listen
interesting
to it.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My early morning way of meditation service at Agape, we play that in the background, and it goes through the whole sanctuary.
Okay.
And then even the people who are watching it on YouTube or our website, they can feel it. They can feel the frequency of the meditation app.
I can definitely feel it.
Yeah.
It gets a little bit funky because in the world of biohacking, like, okay, number one, can we get the data? And so we know what's going on in there, right? All right. And then people are saying, well, we're going to know at the end of the week what to do better. Fine. But I've always been more, okay, we're going to do right now with the data. And that becomes a feedback system.
Right.
And over the last 10 years, more and more people have made interventional systems. Okay, let's decide what to do. We're going to put on more muscle. We're going to do this, but they don't usually know your state. And where we are right now, the stuff we're doing with Upgrade Labs is, well, let's measure your state and let's do some interventions that are going to take you to your goal based on where you are now.
Yeah.
And you guys have done that same thing because you're looking at the data and then making custom code.
Exactly.
But some of the states you're looking for, they're kind of hard to define.
Right.
Like inner alignment. What the hell is inner alignment anyway? Is there an equation for that?
But it's a peace of mind in which you are not reacting to the external circumstance or condition. You're actually responding from a connection within yourself.
Can you turn that on for me real quick?
Yes.
Is it on all the time?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, okay. And mine's on the vast majority of the time.
Yeah. It's the background, and there are things in the foreground.
Yeah.
But the background is peace, it's love.
Gratitude is a big one.
Gratitude is gigantic. And it's a great feeling tone. Yeah.
So can you do this? Can you turn on your inner alignment like that?
I'm getting better at it.
I get a sense you can, but
I was more of the guy that tried to think my way into it, and that was backwards.
Doesn't work very well.
So you have to reverse that. I played baseball for 12 years, and then when I first tried to play golf, which I think I got through 3 rounds, I tried to hit it like a baseball, but you have to hit it light and soft, and the lighter and softer you hit it, you get in the sweet spot, and it goes further. So it's counterintuitive. So when I can turn that stuff off and not try to think it through, and I know feel is a word you can have 100 meanings of, but when I feel it and know what's entering my system, I get that sense of, okay, that's working. I make a little mental note, then I try to extend that practice.
That makes sense. So you know what it feels like, and you can bring it most of the time, and you sit in it the vast majority of the time. My perception is I sit in it most of the time, but I might not notice if I came out of it. If something kind of pissed me off, my inner awareness wouldn't be there anyway, so I wouldn't know. But
right.
Most of the time I feel like it. So how do you measure it to put it into a song or into a sound? So do you like hook electrodes up all over Michael Beckwith here? He got like clips on his ears, maybe somewhere else. And he's like, what does it look like to get a signal from somebody?
So
you're reminding me of something else. Say have to be shared.
Yeah. So since we grew out of clinic, we do brain mapping and neurofeedback in clinic. So the scientific side of it will go through a session with and without the particular frequency with the particular outcome that you want. And we can actually see brain waves. It's hard to measure the feeling.
There we go.
But we can measure the brain waves to change. And we know there's been a significant change. So that's kind of the genesis of everything.
That's a clean answer. And listeners are going to understand that entirely. Yeah. So you hypothesize that the sound is going to do the thing, and then you take someone who knows the state, measure them as they go into the state, and look what the frequencies do. That's how I proved out like the forgiveness process that we use at 40 Years of Zen. It's like, well, put 1,000 people in there and teach them to forgive all the stuff that was that harmed them, and this is the process that reliably worked.
Yeah.
So it's science.
Yes. Measurable.
I like this. And that's a much better approach than saying, well, we found this one example and we copied it. Because then it may not work for a lot of people.
Right.
Absolutely.
And then you're saying, all right, it works. And I'm assuming you didn't just test it on Mike, who tested on a bunch of people. Right. And so there you go.
Yep. Yeah. Matter of fact, when he brought it to me, how many years ago?
It was about 3 years ago.
He brought it to me, but I didn't respond back to him for a year.
Oh, yeah?
I just practiced with it.
Oh, interesting.
To see if there was really, it was something really here. He has one called exercise. Use it when you exercise. So when I go to the gym, I put it on, I listen to it. Is this really helping me? Is this really pumping more blood to my body, my heart? Is it doing the things? And after a while, I called him back. It was almost a year. And I said, Henry, you really have something here. Because I could tell when I sat in my meditation, I could tell when I was preparing for things. It wasn't just anecdotal. It wasn't just, I'm making it up in my mind. I could actually shift it, see the shift. And I said, okay.
Yeah, we respected Michael, obviously, being the father of meditation. And we wanted so bad to have his endorsement and let it really work for him, but we couldn't push it. We couldn't buy it. We couldn't, cause that's his whole reputation. And when he came back, I said, thank you for giving it, a true sense of ownership. Thank you for using it yourself, not having other people use it, but really being able to stand behind it yourself. And that meant the world to us. I was so pissed we had to wait a year. but now I'm not.
Yeah. I'll say everything when it's the right timing. I get that.
That's true.
When I play different SOAAK frequencies, am I hacking my nervous system or awakening it, or are those the same thing?
I'll tell you my opinion, and he'll tell you the science.
My answer is yes.
Cool.
Yes to what part?
Both.
The way I look at it is, you're hacking, but you're also attuning the actual cells of your body to a frequency of wholeness. It's like it's like a vibrational tuning fork. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, no, 100%. We use that in our examples a lot of time to explain what frequencies are. We talk about the tuning fork, and if you hit a tuning fork and you hold it up next to another tuning fork that you haven't touched, that other tuning fork will start to resonate the same key of that. So with SOAAK, when you're listening to a frequency that's non-relenting, meaning that it can't change, it's digital, and you hold it up next to a frequency that can change, which say we have anxiety issues, then that tuning fork has sounded, and it's going to resonate through sympathetic resonance, scientifically proven, that it'll start to resonate with the non-relenting frequency and pull you out of that anxiety.
I like the answer of both. Some people get really reactive about hacking, and they're like, well, hacking, that's taking the shortcut. And it's funny, those same people, they always drive to meet me instead of walking.
Right. Yeah, I'll take a fast.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like shortcuts are okay some of the time, and other times, like it's actually an inner framework that says that you should take the slow path towards waking up. And it's not an inner framework that's good for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The thing about it is, too, adding to what he's saying, okay, so you're now vibrating at the level of that frequency. But then there's still work to be done. You still, we have, he has affirmations on there. There's intention setting.
On the app. Huh?
There's an encouragement of a way of living. So you're not just hacking all the time. You're actually living a certain way.
Right.
Waking up with intention. Meditation and prayers involved. He has a whole inner system of teachers that you can listen to on a regular basis that can continue to open up your mind to possibilities. So it's a way of living.
Yeah. And kind of an example too. I remember back when I was my last year at college, I had a back injury, and I'd been in sports, lifted all my life and all that. And my vertebrates in my lower back too had fused. And it had pinched a nerve, and I had lost 20, 30 pounds. I couldn't walk hardly at all. I had to stand up and stretch, hang on those inverted boots and stretch out my spine and all that. And so my path to recovery was, chiropractic and massage, and maybe if none of that worked, I get surgery. Right. So I stopped by my dad's church, and to this day, it gets me. This is 40-something years ago. Stopped by his church, and I said, Dad, I want you to know that I'm going to need surgery, and I'm going to surgery and all that. And he said, do you mind if I have prayer with you? And I said, I guess so. Okay. Send me on my way. Dave, he had prayer with me, and he said, now bend over and move your back and tell me how it feels.
Whoa.
Dave, I promise to God, I have no reason to embellish this at all. I was a healed 100%. I went to my chiropractor, and he had been treating me. He took pictures of my back that were perfect.
So fully healed instantly.
Instant.
Wow.
I believe in that. I believe in miracles, and I believe in the process. And I believe you will get what you need in the moment you need it. That's what drove our thing with SOAAK. I want to give people what they need in the moment that they need. And if that turns on other things in their lives, then so be it. My father always told me, he said, Jesus' disciples came to Jesus and said, how do you pray? His disciples had seen him walking on water, performing miracles, doing all these things. But the question was, how do you pray? And Jesus said, you pray like this: Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And I think as we resonate with what is in heaven, what is from our Creator, that vibration that started you before you were even born is still with us, vibrating in us and as us and through us today.
What makes sense is sound could affect that.
Yes.
Yes.
And when I look at the definition of biohacking, it's change the environment around you and inside of you to have control of your biology or control of your state.
Yep.
Well, I wonder if sound and vibration are major variables in the world around you that you could manipulate to have control of your state.
Absolutely.
It's right at the core of what you do with biohacking.
It is.
And I've had some profound experiences from sound, and I really like the SOAAK app, but I have a hard time doing anything every day for 30 days except for drink coffee. I'm pretty good at that. So
On this, you don't have to do anything. Just put it on.
well, I'm still, I gotta start, but having it on the speakers would be easy to do.
Yeah.
Instead of on headphones, but I'm using headphones. So what happens in your brain if you listen to a frequency on SOAAK for 30 days straight? You've measured changes?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you see?
For sure. I'm not the technician at all. So I don't want to over speak what happens. I get the end result. I get the end reports to show how alpha waves, theta waves will have changed to a certain extent, and pull you into that coherence, more. We see people's immune systems, and this is not a claim, by the way. FDA is not behind this, nor will they ever be, because you get into a little quantum. Fada. Fada.
Oh, that's that old government agency that Big Pharma used
The
to
Air
run.
Force is digging on you.
Yeah. No, you're right. So yeah. But yeah, we see those changes. And then in the outcomes of large people groups, like our work with the Air Force and all that, they're really, really loving that.
What about things like heart rate variability or sleep or cognition? Do you have studies on that?
Yeah, you can actually, we did this, with a company called HeartMath, and we traded some studies, and we had some individuals, actually measure their heart rate variability. And in minutes after doing a session with SOAAK sound frequencies, their heart rate variability would increase.
Wow. It's funny you mentioned HeartMath. Roland McCready, who's the head researcher for their nonprofit side, is speaking at the Biohacking conference.
No kidding.
Yeah, we've been friends.
Well, tell them we said hi.
I will. I've been friends for 20-something years. I was an advisor to HeartMath back in 2008.
Yeah.
To help bring them into the movement. So that's cool. So you're actually seeing real-time shifts, and that's because you're listening to HeartMath is a company that does real-time sensing of heart rate variability, so you can learn how your breathing or your intentions shape your stress levels. So if you're able to play the SOAAK sounds and see that change, that's real-time indication that you're steering the nervous system or the brainwaves.
It is.
Absolutely.
Kind of cool. All right.
Yeah.
Like
We're very excited about that.
Are you just changing mood, or are you changing relationships or changing behavior?
I think when your mood shifts, your relationship shift. Say that slow.
Yeah, I know. Make sure the F is in there.
When you shift your mood, everything around you changes. So, and you said you were having Joe Dispenza speak.
Yeah.
He said your personal reality is an extension of your personality. So if you got a personality of a certain thing, then that changes everything. And so we see that. We see mood changes. We see, sometimes people will talk about trauma that's changed in their life. Like I was telling you downstairs, we're in 190 countries now, and some of the biggest changes we've seen have been just in people's sleep patterns, that this will get a person ready for sleep. You start to shut down. You start to get more REM sleep. We're seeing more of the deep sleep that helps restore and replenish your systems. So we get a lot of testimonials about that as well.
Very cool.
Yeah, thank you.
He actually has one of the frequencies is called mood.
Yep.
So if you're feeling really good and you play the mood frequency, what happens?
You live in the question of how can I get better than this?
Nice.
And then it's
I was hoping it's not like the odometer rolls over back to zero.
I love that better. Yeah.
Infinite being.
Anti-aging.
We're always just beginning.
They give you another 0 on the odometer. You're fine.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Do you find that if people are taking cognitive enhancing supplements or nootropics or smart drugs or other things like that, that the frequencies work better or worse?
I think they do. I think they work better. As Dr. Beckwith does his meditations at Agape with frequencies playing behind him, it's like you turbocharge the meditation. You can turbocharge nootropics, things like that we're seeing. And something that your listeners may not know is that when you're listening to frequencies is almost like recharging your battery. And since we're made up of, 70, 80% water, when you are well hydrated and you're listening to frequencies, it even flows better.
That would make sense. So
yeah.
Have your electrolytes and probably some creatine before you listen and see what you get.
Yeah, 1,000%.
But if you put the SOAAK next to the water, it would actually change the vibration of the water, right?
Yeah.
And food.
Yes. Yeah. And food.
You just have to be next to.
It's like prayer.
iPhones are waterproof. Just dump it right in there.
There you go.
I wouldn't want to lick my phone. I don't know.
No. Proximity.
Put it in a bag. Yeah.
Just proximity.
Use the vibrational bone conducting headsets on it. Put it on your glass.
Well, that's a good one.
Glass with a G.
Yeah. Good job. Yeah, I could see there being some. I actually haven't seen a water charging technology that uses sound, but there's probably some submersible speaker, or just put it next to it. Sounds easier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I like that. How would you know if the water worked?
How would I know?
Yeah, well, yeah, like how would anyone know? Like, okay, I put my phone playing. So
well, you remember Dr. Miyamoto's?
Of course.
You remember that? They just measured and saw the crystals and things of that particular nature, which still allows me, every time I drink water, I always say a little prayer and drink.
What little prayer do you say when you drink water?
Peace be still. It just depends on what mood I'm in.
Ah, got it. Okay.
Right now it's just harmony, order, peace.
Okay, I can feel that. There's a state I've written a lot about in my new book called Heavily Meditated. I talk about congruence, and this is where you learn to make your inner state match your outer state. Mm-hmm. Because it doesn't really work if you're pissed off and you walk in and like, I'm not going to act like I'm pissed off.
Right.
And everybody knows.
Right. You can't fake that.
Yeah. People try all the time though, which is probably good because, if they're acting like 7-year-olds, they'd come in and just, punch you because they're mad. So thank you. Okay. Your adult self stopped you for punching me, but you're still feeling like a 7-year-old in there.
Right.
Can you use sound to break out of that so that you actually have congruence?
I think the biggest thing that we have seen is in our anti-anxiety frequency, because when you're anxious for a reason. And if you're being incongruent with your outer self that may want to punch somebody, and you're speaking to because we speak to the cells on a cellular level, when you speak to that and bring congruence in, to relieve the anxiety portion, then I think you're going to see that automatically come on the outside. You can't be at peace with inside and go up and hit somebody and say you're mad. You can hit somebody when you're mad and try to say you're peaceful inside, but you're really not.
Okay.
Like it's got to start there.
Okay.
We're spiritual beings having a physical human experience. So when you speak to the spiritual part, to the energetic part, to the cellular part, Cellular.
I see what you did there.
I think that's when you start to see results.
So if two people listen to the same frequency at the same time, so you've been playing on the speaker in the same room, are they going to enter the same state? Does that do something beneficial for a friendship or anything?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think because we're all different beings, if you and I listen to this frequency right now, we're both going to get something different out of it. So I think that's one part of the answer. But the second part is there's also going to be some similarities, and because our frequencies are compositions, they're not just frequencies.
Thank you for saying that. Yes.
They're compositions. So we might have up to 25 layered and embedded in a one frequency composition soundtrack. So out of those 25, you're going to get certain things out of them. I'm going to get certain things out of them, but there's also going to be some we get together out of them and maybe become more congruent with each other. Mm. That's why we're getting along so well today.
Nice. So
but also
catch my mind.
We're starting at different places at times too.
Yeah,
exactly.
So it's going to affect all of us.
Because you play at Agape in front of hundreds of people, right?
Oh, and millions online.
And, yeah.
After he did his first thing at Agape, all of a sudden we were in like 20 countries, and then we were in 120 countries, just like that. So he's got much more reach than I think you even know.
But everybody's being affected the same and differently.
Oh, that's good.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, the same.
Depends on where they are at that particular moment. Somebody may be sitting in meditation and bliss. Somebody may be pissed off.
Right.
So it's going to affect them both, but ultimately, and there'll be more coherence around all of us.
Right.
But we'll all be shifted a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
If I played this with my girlfriend, are we going to have better sex?
Yes.
There's one on there for that.
There's a libido setting, huh?
For women and men.
So which one do I play it for?
You play for the man. She plays for the
I know, but we're in the same bed at the same time.
earphones.
So you want to have earphones on during sex?
Get freaky.
That's kinky, man. All right.
Get freaky.
You guys started here first. The Reverend Michael Beckwith.
Yeah, they should be Bluetooth, but not with cords and whips.
You might be blushing a little bit there.
Yeah, this may be a first.
But the answer to your question is yes.
Yes. All right. I like that.
She had that female hormone.
Right.
You have testosterone.
Yeah.
You have sex. Mm-hmm. You have
Yeah.
everything there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing what happens with the right music. And I in heavily meditated, one of the ways to access these deep altered states of healing or other abilities, 20% of people report meeting God during orgasm at least once in their life. So
Isn't that
we should talk about that as maybe as important as psychedelics or breath work. It's a path, right? They're all leading to the same place.
It's a vibrational tantric path.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then with our dual audio, we can actually go in and you can take the frequency, press a button, and say you pull up YouTube or Spotify or Apple Music or whatever, and whatever music you love, you can embed it on your phone and have a frequency treatment playing in the background.
That's cool.
While you're listening to whatever music you want to listen to.
Does it work for audiobooks too?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's pretty smart.
My wife actually originally came up with the idea because she listened to so many audiobooks. She said, if I could be taking a frequency treatment in the back without, her biohack was, if I could be taking a frequency treatment in the background and listening to my audiobook, that would be heaven. And so we created it.
What about during, say, podcasts?
The frequency that I told you I turned off, I didn't. So we've got the energetic frequency playing right now.
Yeah, I don't know if our listeners are going to get that.
Yeah.
Interesting. So
I'll
we
play.
can put some through. Yeah,
I'll play an audiobook, and in the background, I'll have accelerated learning.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so the SOAAK app has that ability. I didn't realize that was in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you want to where I thought you were going with that, if you ever want to play even on this episode, another fully mixed version in where it's barely noticeable because it didn't have to be loud.
Let's do that.
We could play that.
Guys, you want to do that, AJ?
Yep.
All right.
We'll send you a file. We'll have our guys send you a file and play one. Yeah, that'll be cool.
Is that the Join a Cult Now file?
No,
Depends on how it goes.
You're working with the Air Force? Aren't these like not spiritual uses of this technology?
Yeah, it's more for the condition of pilots who come back and they're stressed from a mission or they're on a mission, and I look at it as the individual and how can I help that person overcome something that they're going to do anyway. That they may suffer from lack of sleep, from PTSD, etc. How can I help the person? And that's where I start and stop.
Cool. I like that. And
Yeah.
I have lots of friends in the military, and being of service like that is actually a very high level calling. Sometimes governments tell you to do really stupid and evil shit.
I agree.
Well, oh wait, they tell you to do that even if you're not in the military.
Dave.
Sorry.
speaking truth bombs.
So that was stuck in my throat.
Yeah.
Can sound frequencies break up spike proteins?
You need to test that with your doctor.
We have a clinic. We still have our clinic, and we have a functional medicine doctor
Okay.
that has experienced patients. And again, this is not a recommendation or anything like that. But
Now you can't do that because you sell stuff, I could do it. Stuff.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you about a guy who at one time had some patients that saw spike protein, particularly after COVID shots. And
Shocking.
And he, yeah, that's what he says. And he talks about coherence all day long, playing the SOAAK frequencies as part of his protocol to address that. He uses some supplementation.
He's the doctor that I know.
Yeah. Dr. Harris, just a great guy. He actually counseled the U.S. Olympic team and has been all over the world, taught in Europe for a long time. Now he's working in our clinic. We do a lot of podcasts with him. SOAAK has its own podcast, and he's on there a lot, talking about things like this, but he swears by it.
So that answer to that question is yes.
Yes.
And some people are going to be triggered by that. And as we talked about earlier, if you can be triggered, it means that I'm in charge of your nervous system right now and you're my puppet. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, now you're more triggered. So you probably should do something about that. Maybe listen to some sounds. But
Yeah, there you go.
sorry, I just feel
Sounds of
spicy.
Sorry, yeah.
But
It's the frequency, I promise you.
it's got to be. It also makes me want bacon. Is that normal?
Yes. Extra crispy.
That's actually my
Extra crispy.
That's my constant inner peace going. Okay, so
It's grass fed though.
That's awesome.
of course. I'm not eating dirty bacon. It isn't that crazy to think about it. And you guys hear about the Alzheimer's and 40 hertz light research?
Recently.
This happened, I think, 5-6 years ago. A researcher at Harvard came out and she said, that's so weird. If I blink lights 40 times a second, it breaks up Alzheimer's plaque in the brain. Now, this is a Harvard professor or researcher, anyway. I don't know if she's a full professor. And I ended up, this just happens, the weirdest thing. Right after the first paper came out, I'm at a pajama party at the Salk Institute. And all the VCs show up wearing unicorn onesies because unicorns, VCs.
You're being for real now.
I'm being for real. This actually happened.
Okay.
And my assistant at the time, who when I asked her to send me a costume or a pajama thing.
A onesie.
Yeah, she didn't send me a onesie. She sends me Hugh Hefner red silk pajamas.
The Playboy thing.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there on the couch, and the researcher from Harvard, a Chinese woman wearing a white lab coat who did not own pajamas, I'm pretty sure. She's like the most uncomfortable woman there. And I'm sitting on the couch going, this is the coolest conversation ever. And we talked for like 2 hours about her research that changing frequencies of light was having direct biological effects.
Really?
And now she's started a company, and it's literally downstairs, and I turn it on sometimes, and it blinks at 40 hertz, and it changes your brain.
Wow.
So the reason I bring this up, if light frequencies can do that, it isn't that big of a deal to say that sound could do that.
Absolutely.
Right?
100%.
In fact, it's highly likely that it could do that. And my other piece of data about that is around the Rife machine, or that machine that we have downstairs. That you saw, the biocharger machine.
Right.
It uses radio frequencies to explode bacteria and viruses based on the work of a guy named Royal Rife, who did this work in the 20s. And he knows that it works because he had a microscope that he invented himself to let him watch it happen.
Right.
And so I'm pretty sure frequencies have direct biological effects.
Yeah.
So you would probably want to validate, does the specific one of the things on the SOAAK app, does it do something to the spike protein or not? No, I'm just saying it's very plausible. And how could we do medicine or biohacking without just exhausting this avenue? And it's not something Big Pharma seems to really want to support. Why not?
Think of that.
Can't think of a reason. So,
Well, my wife had a big hand in making what we were doing in clinic, because used to we would only give these frequency treatments in clinic. People would pay about $1,000 a month to get do some every day. And she said, I want to get this out to the masses. I don't want to be medicine. I want to be a movement. And that movement is you can change people's lives for a very, very little amount of money and something that's non-invasive. A lot of people can't even take supplements. So to kind of pass through that barrier, I take supplements every day. I know you guys do too. But for those that couldn't, especially those ones that would come in clinic with digestive problems and all that, they would use the frequencies, and because it was non-invasive, it would give them the outcome they wanted. Then when we took it to a way, way low level, that it could get out to so many people at once in 190 countries now, we've done over 41 million minutes of therapies, at a very, very fraction of the cost, that we're not there to, break somebody's bank. We're there to give help and hope, not hype, but something that will really help them and heal them and make them whole.
I love that. Is there a dark side to frequency healing?
You are the dark side.
These are not the droids.
I've already come. I knew that the minute we walked in here. Now, that's a sound clip you can use or you don't have to. You hear frequencies that break bridges. The opera singer at that high frequency breaks the glass. Those are some of the effects if used improperly and without adult supervision.
Like any of Mariah Carey's songs would be examples.
Maybe. I love Mariah Carey. Between her and Whitney and...
I'm totally kidding.
I think Mariah could actually go a little higher than Whitney, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I have a traumatic experience that you guys will appreciate. First time I ever did mushrooms, I was 26, and I flew to Amsterdam. I was like, I want to try them, but I want to know what I'm getting. And they were legal there at the time.
Right.
So I went there and bought some mushrooms and went to my hotel and ate them and turned on the TV. And there's a Mariah Carey music special. And I'm on mushrooms, and I'm like, this is the most beautiful music I've ever heard.
Angelic.
So I come back to the U.S., and I buy a CD, because that's how you got music back then. And I turn it on, I'm like, what is this? I can't listen to this. Oh, it's hurt. That's sorry.
Plus, it wasn't on vinyl. It was on CD. That means you're getting a whole different frequency.
Yeah, that's true.
That's numbing your brain.
Say something about that. I'm familiar with what we're talking about, but share. So why would vinyl be better than CD or streamed audio?
But the vinyl, you're getting the absolute vibration of the music before it's been tampered down. I mean, digitized. It actually, since we're talking about sound, a lot of those great music on vinyl can actually open up your awareness. But on the CD, it cannot. It's just sound. It's just entertainment. So
it's something that I explored in the late 90s when we first did the cutover to CDs from vinyl.
Yeah.
And there were a few, at the time, old guys, like in their 60s and 70s, warning about this.
Yeah.
And what happens is when you're using vinyl, there's a perfect waveform. And when you're using anything digital, including your computer, even the way you're hearing this, it's like little stair steps. It's kind of like LED lights. They're not the same as real lights.
Absolutely.
And they're blinking. You can't see it, but they're blinking. Right. And the music is also kind of blinking, and it has different neurological effects.
Right.
So
you weren't getting the real deal when you came back from Amsterdam.
that is true. Although on the TV, it probably wasn't the real deal either. I think the mushrooms might.
The mushrooms. You had it.
That was your bridge.
You went directly to Mariah Carey's soul.
Exactly. I was like, she's got a beautiful soul, but take it down 2 notches on my frequency there.
Yeah. Don't break my glasses.
About every 20 minutes, someone reaches out to my team. I made up that number, by the way, but often. Okay. Saying, I have a quantum insert name of whatever. It's kind of like back when Star Wars came out. I have the turbo laser. Everything's a turbo. Like, you can't have a turbo laser. Lasers don't need a turbo because they're electronic.
Right.
So, quantum toothpaste, quantum massage oil, quantum enemas. I don't know. It's quantum everything.
You can brush everybody's teeth at once with quantum toothpaste.
Exactly. I'm brushing the world's teeth.
Yeah.
So, how do you know if something's quantum or not?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing about quantum is if you're looking at something, it changes. So how do you know you're looking at it? So if quantum is, did I just hurt Dave Asprey's brain?
Not in a good way.
Okay. Oh, no. Come on. But give me one break in this whole interview.
I'm loving this.
Give me one break in this whole interview.
So fun.
So yeah, you've seen where they'll move something here and it moves there. But when they look at it to try to measure it, because they're observing it, it changes. And so
The observer,
what it was before.
Observed changes on a subatomic level based on observation. But quantum, when we talk about quantum today, it matches what we used to say when we would talk about consciousness, or we would talk about a presence that's never an absence, that's everywhere, that's omnipresent. That's the quantum field. That's untouched by the simulation, untouched by experience, untouched by perception. It is what it is.
That's not true.
But
You tell me that when you're doing your work and you go to that unmanifest, that's what I call it, or the nothingness that Joe calls it, that you're not touching the quantum and that it's not changing.
No, I am touching the quantum.
Well, you said it didn't change.
No. But the quantum, that which is, doesn't change. Reality doesn't change. Your perception of it changes. Your perception of it too, it changes. But that which is the same yesterday, today, and forever, God, quantum,
that's not going to change.
Yeah, it's not going to change.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. That makes more sense. Because you kind of can shape that quantum stuff, but you're saying we shape others and our perception of it.
Absolutely.
Okay, I can jive with that.
Yeah.
It's like,
but now, as you're saying, everybody's using the word.
Oh yeah,
but it's starting to have meaning, mean less and less based on who's using it.
So what's the next word for quantum?
I think you're just going to go back to consciousness.
Interesting.
That's what we are. We're pure awareness.
Right.
And then we have content that's floating through our awareness. And then when you begin to no longer identify with the content, that's when you're waking up. If you're identified as the content, then you're asleep.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's good.
In the model of reality that I work with, it's like if you're riding around in a meat body, you cannot possibly see or sense reality. Too limited. It's like, you see those like underwater remote controlled submarines.
Yes. Yeah.
You're not really going to know what it's like to swim around underwater. And that's what it's like in a body.
They're using the sensorium.
Yeah.
Absolutely. True.
And the whole model of reality is mathematically pretty provably it's quantum fluctuations and stuff like that. You can't see them. So we make up all this stuff. And I'm more and more to the point where our consciousness makes up all of reality. Right. Like that kind of flies in the face of a lot of teachings, but it's the only thing I can find that explains everything. It's called biocentrism, but it creates an allowance for there to be the kind of things that you manifest at Agape.
Right.
And for a lot of our low level biological awarenesses of reality. So it's like, man, we have these really poorly constructed user interfaces for a really complex reality. Right. And that creates space for sound to do healing.
Yeah.
And for intention to have an effect on the world and for altered states to mean something other than just that. So it's like we are the universe, instead of we're outside the universe. And that seems to be how it works. And it makes sense that way.
We are the universe becoming conscious of itself as Dave, as Henry, as Michael.
I like that. You ever have a spiritual experience that you just couldn't explain that science still can't touch?
Yes, many.
Other than your back.
The back pain, that freaked me out. And to piggyback on that story just a little bit, having my father who had just left my mother, and a pastor's not supposed to, get a divorce or whatever. Nothing in my mind was even saying this could even happen. And so when it did, it was almost like a double blind proof to me that it was the God factor that I really received a healing. Because in my mind, I wasn't thinking about even, like I knew it could happen because I've seen healings all my life. I've seen a bunch of junk all my life as well. Right. So you sort through all that. But when I actually saw it and felt it, and it happened to me, and this is 40-something years ago, and I'm still pain-free, it made a difference in my life. It totally shifted my perception. When I was younger, I would have dreams of being held up against the wall by negative forces, and I would speak the name of Jesus, and I would slowly be let down, and then I could go to sleep. And I've seen visions of hands coming out, and me being kind of afraid before, and then touching the hand and feeling total peace and getting the sense of that's my unconditional loving Father. Not anything based in religion, but just a personal spiritual practice and awareness.
That's some deep things.
Yeah.
Michael, first major spiritual experience that just like broke things open for you.
I had some as children, as a child, but as an adult, when I was a senior at USC, I was a psychobiology major. So on the path to go to med school. And so I'm in a series of inner experiences that at the time I labeled pathological. I said, I'm seeing visions, I'm leaving my body, I'm astral traveling, I'm doing all these things.
Yeah.
And a lot of these things I was doing without drugs. Yeah. So I actually thought I was losing my mind. Anyway, Cliff Note version, it culminated in I was killed in a lucid dream, stabbed in the heart. The pain was physically and emotionally excruciating, and I died. And when I woke up, I could see the presence of what I called love. I didn't call it God. I called love, beauty everywhere.
Wow.
When the love penetrated my being, I could see everywhere without my eyes. Changed my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
So I could never get back in that box again. So then I went on a research to discover what had happened to me. And that's what put me on this path.
Mm.
And so I had tremendous experiences. It took me a number of years to integrate.
Yeah.
I was a weird guy. Still kind of weird, I imagine, in some people's eyes. But I couldn't, it took me a while to integrate so I can actually reclaim my physical humanness. And I met my teachers. I met teachers on the other side that I didn't know who they were, but they were teaching me that I would find out later as I saw their books or their bust. I said, I know that guy. I was standing in front of this church one time, a metaphysical church, and they were having a celebration. And I said, oh, I know him. And they said, Michael, I was like 27 at the time. That man's been dead since the 60s.
So you're chatting with ascended masters and things like that. All right.
And,
amazing.
And so that was my first opening. And then other ones have happened. And there's always an integration into it. Mm-hmm. I always wanted to look somewhat normal. I mean, most recent was 2 Januaries ago. I mean, dramatically. I was about to do a podcast, a class actually. And I meditate pretty much before I do anything. So I went into meditation. When I came out, I was blind. I was in the light.
Wow.
I couldn't see it. I could not even see you. You were sitting there. It was just, so I called in Reverend Kathleen Lee Brown. I said, come in here. I can't see. I'm blind. I wasn't panicked.
Yeah.
It was exhilarating. It was, wow. And I said, I can't teach right now. I don't know how long this is going to last, but you know. So anyway, I was sitting there and slowly I could see Kathleen and slowly I could see Lee, but I could see the fountain of light inside of their being.
Wow.
That was their real nature. And I remembered the phrase that we are the light that lighteth up every being that comes to the planet, the same light that was found in Jesus.
Yeah.
So I could see that in Kathleen and I could see that in Lee. That was 2 years ago. And then after about 40 minutes, you know, it kind of dissolved. The remnants still remain. It just gives me access.
That's
Yes.
pretty amazing. And I think a lot of times people believe that having a spiritual awakening is a one-time thing, and it seems like it's a series of steps to me.
It's a lifetime thing.
Constant expansion because the quantum field,
Yeah.
consciousness is infinite. Mm-hmm. So wherever you are, you're just beginning. You're just beginning. You keep widening your awareness of what is.
Beautiful.
And then it has to be integration or an embodiment, or you'll be so heavenly bound, but you won't be any earthly good. You just feel, I want to be high.
Right. Yeah, we don't need that.
And I think even quantum, in a way, you know, in people's understanding, just a very Cliff Note version is being everywhere at once, you know, all the time, yet almost unobservable. And because I grew up in the church and I've heard message after message, I tell people Jesus was the first quantum. It was like the quantum Christ, because before he had to be with you. He walked with people. He said, I can talk to you because I'm talking to Dave today. But he said, I've got to go away and I'm going to send back the Comforter, which we know as the Holy Spirit, a spirit that's not bound by space, time, or any of that. So it was everywhere at once, all the time, which is now what quantum is trying to see and explain and measure to a certain degree. So it's almost cycling. It's almost coming right back to the beginning of that initial vibration that said, in the beginning there was, and now we are.
And this is a new beginning right now. Your father would be proud of you, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
So good.
Thank you.
Well, guys, I think it's pretty cool, the story behind SOAAK and just the way you came up with it, the way it's quantifiably tested, and then the way it's quantumfiably tested, or you give it to Michael. I just made that up.
Yeah, quantumfiably. Yes.
So you know, hey, Michael, play with this for a year and, you know, reach afterwards. So it's kind of trust but verify. I think you guys have done that. And people can go to SOAAK.com, SOAAK.com/Dave. Use code Dave and they'll give you a month free. Yes. So try it out. You're going to listen to something when you go to sleep. Try this and see what happens. And well, we got kind of some top experts in the world here on the show saying stuff works. And I don't believe either one of them is going to tell you that if it doesn't. And so thank you. You can use it. If it doesn't work, we got a month free. That's okay. And you can use it. If it works and it's worth it, then you get it. And that is how it's supposed to be. So enjoy it. SOAAK.com/Dave, and worth your time.
See you next time on the Human Upgrade Podcast.